Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege to be here today with our honored guests and our elected officials. I'd like to announce some of our elected officials. We have from Taylor Council, we have Chuck McHale, John Tighe, and my good friend Frank D'Angelo. Today's a great day for the citizens of Lackawanna County. Just over to our left is where the Continental Mine is. That opened in 1860 and it closed in the 1960s. Now, I grew up in West Granton and towards the Kaiser Valley section. I live approximately 9 blocks from here. That's where our family homestead is, and my home itself is probably a mile and 2 blocks from here. And this park, I remember walking through it when at that time it was called Kaiser Park. And it was still, like, you could see the scarring was amazing at that point. There was chickens running around here. My dad was walking through, and there was a beautiful design of what was going to happen. And but you could just see how the mine industry, what it did to our beautiful landscape. But now, 40 years later, and I come to this park regularly, and just look at our beautiful view that we have here, and how beautiful the park is. And Joe McDade's vision was that mine-scarred land could be brought back to life. And with the federal money, he earmarked $2 million that was going to make that happen, which was amazing. And this park was the start of it. 40 years later, it's so vibrant. We have 4 parks. We have McDade, we have Merle-Sernowski, we have Ellsworth, and our newest is Covington. And of the 4 parks, all of them are great. But this is the #1 park. There's more visitors here per year. And what's great about our mine here is there's other mines that you can travel down to. But this one actually was voted nationally, am I right, was it 7th or 8th? 7th as the best underground mine tour. It's underground tours. That calls salt mines, everything else. Because a lot of people, like, when they go on a mine tour, it really gives them an idea of exactly what our great-grandfathers or great-grandparents went through and how harsh their lives were. And it just wasn't easy for them. It was not easy for them. All of us are here, and just about everybody here, I'm sure, some kind of relation to somebody who at one point worked in the mines. We as children, in the Kaiser Valley section, there wasn't a lot going on. We had the Price Street Playground, or the Jackson Street Playground. And when this park was built, we did all of our swimming here, all of our fishing here. And then when I was in cross country at West Scranton, all of our cross country races were run here. And we have a state mine museum that's second to none. There's nothing in comparison. And and for the people that might not be able to afford to go away or take their family away on vacation, we have the 4 parks here that are all free. Our swimming's free. It's opportunities just make those family memories happen. And that's what really matters. It's quality of life. And the commissioners and Congressman McDade really had a vision back then. And a little bit down in the program, we're going to talk about one of the individuals that actually was here when the construction of the park actually started. But without further ado, I'd like to bring up Bill Davis to talk about Parks and Recreation and some brief remarks.
Good morning, everyone. For the past 9 years, I've had the honor and privilege of being the Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation for Lackawanna County. During that time, I've had an opportunity to learn and appreciate what a truly unique park this is. I would guess there's not many parks in the region that offer as many amenities as McDade does. McDade Park has pavilions, a pool, a fishing pond, tennis courts, basketball courts, soccer and softball fields, a boundless playground, trails, and open green space. Not to mention 2 world-class heritage sites, the Lackawanna Coal Mine Tour and the Anthracite Heritage Museum. I know it was a bit of a walk over here this morning, but we selected this site for this morning's proceedings simply for the view. From here, we thought it would give you a different perspective of the park than you might normally have a chance to enjoy. Part of what makes this park unique is how it came to be. Many parks start with some type of open green space, which over time is developed into a park by adding things like ball fields, pavilions, playgrounds, and trails, the things that we think of that make up a park. The land that we are on right now was part of our coal mining history, a proud history, but one that scarred the land. It took a true vision on the part of our elected officials to see how the land could be transformed into the beautiful park that we have today. I'd like to thank Congressman Joseph McDade and County Commissioners Charles Lugar, Robert Pettinato, and Edward Zippe for seeking the funding and working together to see their vision for this park become a reality. In recent years, Lackawanna County Parks and Recreation has worked on several park development projects. One of the added perks to my job is my kids think I have the best job in the world. Every time we build a playground or a ball field, they're one of the first ones to try it out. I mention this to point out that we also owe great thanks to all the commissioners who have contributed to the continued development of this park since McDade Park opened 40 years ago today. Parks are always a work in progress. We're never really ever finished. There's always the next project that'll add an amenity for the public to enjoy. We've seen a pool, pavilions, playgrounds, ball fields, courts, and many other amenities since the opening of this park. This has been done by the continued support of the commissioners, so I would like to thank all the commissioners who have seen value and have made contributions to it. I would also like to thank the many federal and state elected officials who have helped in securing funds for these numerous projects over the years and continue to do so. The initial construction of McDade Park was a tremendous first step, but the many facilities were built, they had to be maintained. The many men and women who have worked on the staff of Lackawanna County Parks and Recreation in a number of capacities have contributed to the stewardship of McDade Park, and I would like to thank them for their commitment and hard work. They have not only added to the beauty of this very special place, but they have also added to the continued expansion of our vibrant park system, of which we all can be very proud. I would also like to thank the staff, past and present, of the Coal Mine Tour. The Coal Mine Tour is an incredibly important part of McDade Park. This is an attraction that draws people from all over the world. It too takes a great deal of work to maintain and operate, and the staff does a great job. I would like to conclude with a quote that I believe has some relevance to why we're here today. The nation behaves well if it treats its natural resources as assets which it must turn over to the next generation increased and not impaired in value. Theodore Roosevelt. I believe Congressman Joseph McDade and the commissioners past and present have turned over a tremendous asset to us and generations to come. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our commissioners' meetings always begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And if it wasn't for our veterans, we wouldn't be here today to enjoy the freedoms that we have. At this time, I'd like to bring up Judge Thomas Munley and Joel Sylvester, both veterans and both great men who care about our veterans in Lackawanna County, for the pledge. Ladies and gentlemen, the flag is just on the hill.
There's another flag right here that you can see.
There you go, right by the coal mine statue.
Right in the front there. If you're a veteran, you can either salute, hat on, or not. And if not, put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, could we just all stand for a moment of silence for all of our servicemen and women that have lost their lives and that are fighting right now overseas, so we can have the freedoms that we have today. And please also keep our law enforcement in your thoughts and your prayers. You know, they're the front line against terrorism in our country. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Patrick, I'm going to say something.
Sure.
I told Patrick O'Malley I just want to say something for 1 minute. Joe McDade is my friend. First of all, I want to thank my colleague, Judge Julia Munley, for being here today with their wonderful husband, Pat. Thank you for coming. But anyway, Joe McDade is my friend. I used to go to Washington to have dinner with him. We'd relax together. He was just a great man. He is a great man. And I want to say one story about Joe McDade. This happened in 1972. I'll never forget it. I served my country in Vietnam in the infantry. I did my time for 11 months and 5 days in the infantry. I came home. I went to Fort Dix, New Jersey. Then I got out of the Army with an honorable discharge. So I decided to go to law school. I had 1 year of law school in, and I get a letter from the United States Army saying, well, even though you served in Vietnam, blah blah blah, we still have to call you back to train new troops in I forget where it was, somewhere in Kansas. I wrote back to them. I said, I'm in law school. I already have a year of law school in. I can't. I served my country. When I went in, went to Vietnam. I was in the infantry. Blah blah blah. Okay. They said, sorry. Report to Fort whatever it was. And who did I call but Joe McDade? And boy, I'll tell you, I said, Congressman. Now he's my friend. I said, Congressman, I have a year of law school, and you know I was in the Army. You know I was in Vietnam. He said, they're making you quit law school and go back and train new troops. I said, Congressman, I don't want to leave law school. I only 2 years left. I have a year in already. He said, well, we'll see about that. That's just what Congressman McDade said. About 2 weeks later, I get a letter from the United States Army saying, you don't have to go. Good luck with your law school career. Joe McDade, thank you very much. I love you.
I'd also like to acknowledge Tom Welby, who represents Representative Marty Flynn, who's here today. I'd also like to have Julie Munley come up just for brief remarks.
Thanks. Well, thanks, Patrick.
You're welcome.
I just happen to have a couple remarks prepared. Just fast. Just fast. And so we're here on this clear day, this beautiful clear day, and it's 40 years since this park was established. And I do work, I'm assigned to family court in Lackawanna County. So I see so many children who come in front of me with all sorts of issues. And today, adults and children are so attached to electronics, and I think actually that's half of the problem. So places like this are the gems of our county. And we all must be ambassadors to spread the word on how important places in Lackawanna County like McDade Park are and what they can do to benefit our society. Because that's what our area is actually all about. It's about the wonderful people that we're from and all the great times that we enjoy together. And I would just ask that each and every one of you really breathe in and, you know, take a good look around today and go out and tell your neighbors, tell your friends, get out of their houses, get away from their computers and their cell phones, come to places like McDade Park and share in the beauty that we have. There was a great northeastern Pennsylvania by the name of Manny Gordon who passed away a few years ago, and it was a great friend of my grandmother Munley's, who was a representative in the House, and who we remember him. Enjoy, you know, the beauty of northeastern Pennsylvania. So this is what we have, and on this great day, bring back what you see and all the wonderful thoughts that we share with you today, and get your neighbors, your friends, your family members here. So thank you. And thanks, Pat.
Yep. Julie really hit upon what it's about. Like you said, it was quality of life. In our 4 parks, we have 3 lakes, and we have an in-ground pool at McDade Park. And there's so many amenities that you can enjoy here. It's It's made for everybody, 8 to 80. So anybody can come up, please. It's free. The parks. Come out and enjoy. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Taylor, my good friend Ted Praschak. Ted, would you like to come and say a few words?
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if anybody knows this, but the park is split between Scranton and Taylor. It's such well kept, and the people that visit here, I really have to applaud them because they pick up after themselves. There's no vandalism that is as extreme that costs the county any money. The Sheriff's Department, the Scranton Police Department, Mayor Cartwright, and the Taylor Police Department patrol this area. They saturate it. And when the people see them, they feel safe. And this is a safe park. At nighttime, there's nobody comes around. I read in other parks that there's a lot going on, but this park is a safe park. But I have a little short story I just want to tell you. When I was growing up, I was a family of 11, and I was the baby. And Joe McDade used to live in Taylor. He lived in the 400 block of South Main Street. He'd visit the Taylor residence. He'd come to our house. He was bouncing me off his knee. But he knew we didn't have much. But he didn't own a lake, he went fishing. And every time he brought fish back, he gave it to our family. And we'll never forget him for that. He was a great man. And thank you for coming today, and enjoy the park. Thank you, guys.
I'm sure a lot of people didn't realize that. Yeah, it's split between Taylor and Scranton. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Scranton, the Honorable William Courtwright.
Well, thank you to all the commissioners for inviting me here today. Obviously, thank you to the McDade family, but I'll have a brief story. I grew up in West Scranton. Actually, right now, Patrick and I only live two houses away from each other. But I grew up on a street called Hyde Park Avenue, and I have 3 children. And this park goes way back in my family because my dad used to bring my 3 children to this park. By himself, he'd drive up and he'd come to this park so close to our house. And now, I find I'm bringing my grandchildren live in Archibald right now. But they'll be coming to my house today, and this is where we'll come. We'll come to McDade Park. It's just a wonderful asset. It's so close to our house. I actually could walk here if I wanted to, but I'm a little bit lazy. I didn't even want to walk up the hill today, Patrick. But if you take a look, you can see all of Scranton. And this is just such a fabulous place. You got to thank the McDade family, but also all the federal, state, and local government that saw this as a place that could be developed and continue each and every year to add to this place, especially now the county commissioners. So as Judge Munley said, tell everybody about this place. Come out and enjoy it. It's a wonderful place. And again, what a great view of the city of Scranton. Thank you.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, when the park, was dedicated, there wasn't, Americans Disability Act had not happened. Our parks have boundless playgrounds, rubberized flooring. Like all of us grew up in, you go to a playground, it was blacktop and cement, and it was stainless steel. You'd scald your skin. It was crazy, but it is. and teeter totters, the merry-go-rounds, and we didn't think anything of it, but they were actually dangerous. But all of our stuff today it's handicap accessible. So the playing field is even. It's for everybody. And so please, if you're viewing this on ECTV, make sure you get out to one of our 4 parks. So we have boundless playgrounds at all of them, and the amenities are different for each one. So, you could always find something different at either one of them, the 4 of them. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Congressman Matt Courtwright.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Praschak, Mayor Courtwright, Judge Munley, Senator Blake, Commander Sylvester, Chuck McKeel, the McDade family. It's an honor for me to be here this morning with you. Bill Davis shared with me a copy of the program from 1977, and he has that. Make sure you look at it. When Congressman McDade was here for the dedication, when Congressman Flood was here as well to speak. Love how the two of them worked together, both of them on the House Appropriations Committee. It made me work harder than ever to get on that committee. I'm proud to say I got on it last fall, and from your lips to God's ears, earmarks come back, and we continue to do the wonderful things that Congressman McDade and Flood were able to do through that committee. And I want to say also that it's a tough job I have living up to the legacy of those men, Congressman McDade and Flood. Everywhere you go in this area, they touched lives. They made an impact on the economy. Even to this day, meat is being put on the plates of families because of the work that Joe McDade did, and I don't forget it. So I have a congressional record to read, which went into the record on Friday. In recognition of the 40th anniversary of McDade Park in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the 40th anniversary of McDade Park, which will be celebrated on Monday, July 31, 2017. For 4 decades, McDade Park has been an important part of Lackawanna County, providing residents and visitors with a place to have fun and enjoy the beauty and history of northeastern Pennsylvania. Since 1977, McDade Park has offered services and recreational amenities for everyone. The park's 180 acres include several sports fields utilized by athletes of all ages, while nature lovers enjoy the park's hiking trail and ponds for fishing. Programs such as youth soccer, women's golf, children's fishing derbies, and many others bring people together for some friendly competition. More recently, McDade Park has taken great strides to become more accessible to people of all needs. The Boundless Playground is a special structure added in 2009, which contains wheelchair-accessible slides and special sensory areas that allow children of all needs and abilities to have fun. McDade Park has also helped bring past and present together by commemorating Lackawanna County's history. The Lackawanna County Coal Mine Tour, the Pennsylvania Anthracite Museum, and Miners Memorial are located at the park to preserve Lackawanna County's rich industrial past. The Coal Mine Tour allows visitors to descend 300 feet underground via a mine car to explore a restored anthracite coal mine. In addition to the mine tour, McDade Park is home to memorials dedicated to honor cancer survivors and to commemorate the September 11, 2001 attacks on our nation. It is an honor to recognize McDade Park as it celebrates its 40th anniversary. May the people of Lackawanna County continue to enjoy the beauty and history that McDade Park offers for many, many years to come. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, approximately 40,000 citizens come to McDade Park just for the mine tour. Now think about what this area must look like. It's 1860, the Continental Mine opens. You can see the people coming in, and you know they were coming in before the sun came up, and then they were coming out when the sun was down. And the way that they worked back then, there was no safety. You know, this is way before John Mitchell. Could you imagine like what it was like back then? And now, you know, we're all standing here, you know, and there was people that died in that mine. But I'm sure that mine also provided for hundreds of families through the years, or thousands. But it's just amazing how far we've come, you know. And even in the mining that still goes on today, how there's safety is the utmost responsibility of the management who run these mines at this point. I mean, back then it was about making sure the amount of coal weight you brought out was the key. And if you died, maybe they would let your son take your spot. You know, that's how it was. Or they would take your body if you died in the mines and maybe just put it on your front porch for your widow to find you. I mean, it's a scary time. But that mine, I mean, that I truly believe that there isn't a junior in high school or an 8th grader that shouldn't go through that mine before they get older, because it really makes you remember how hard life was. You could have been a breaker boy, 8, 9 years old, taking care of the mules. I mean, they were in the mines 15, 16 years old, trying to provide for the families, and everybody had large families back then. But that mine keeps their memory in the honor of what they did to provide their families alive, and it really matters. So please, anybody that hasn't been on the mine tour, it's incredible, it's amazing, and you'll talk to your friends or neighbors about it, and they'll come after it. I really mean it. At this time, I'd like to introduce our state senator, the Honorable John Blake.
Thank you. Honorable Mayors, Honorable Judges Munley, Congressman Cartwright, Commissioner O'Malley, Bill. Delighted to be here. Appreciate the invitation to be here to mark the 40th anniversary and express our deep thanks to Congressman McDade and his family. You know, 1977, I was thinking, and Congressman Cartwright mentioned the original program of that date. I was a senior in high school at Valley View. I was preparing for my last high school football season, and I remember just the reputation of Congressman McDade as an enormous friend to northeastern Pennsylvania. I remember even then in my high school days. But I also recall a cross-country journey, Commissioner O'Malley, through this park. I couldn't do it today, but I do remember that. But I just think it's really special, and I really think it's important for me to call attention to this, because there's a bit of a debate going on across the nation about the role of government in improving the quality of life for citizens. Let them come to McDade Park and think about it for a moment, because this is a partnership of federal and state and county money, and the county commissioners really need to be commended for, as the word that Bill Davis used, stewardship of the park. I meet families from time to time throughout the district who will tell me about the Boundless Playground and about the relationships that they've built with other families that they never otherwise would have had a chance to meet but for that connection. And that's what this park and its amenities provide, are connections to increase the fabric of our community and build relationships. I want to tell you a little story if I can. My wife and I were married in 1985. We were on a honeymoon. We met a couple from Port Angeles, Washington. It's about as far as you can get from here, the Pacific Northwest, across the water from Vancouver, British Columbia. And we met this couple that got married on the same day we did, and they decided to come visit us a year later in 1986. So they flew, their first time ever east of the Mississippi, they flew into Avoca. We picked them up, and we're driving them through the valley, and Kevin looks at me and he's what is that? He said, what is that? These black hills, right? What is that, right? And I thought to myself, oh, doesn't everybody have that in their backyard, you know? But it struck me. It just struck me. Well, that's the coal waste, the coal mine waste, you know. And they were just completely baffled by it, you know, just not something that was in their experience. And just to finish the story, that was the first time I went to the coal mine tour. It was in the late 80s, and I took Kevin and Lori down. My most vivid memory of the first time I did the tour. How many have done the tour here? Raise your hand. It's extraordinary. How about the part where they turn the lights out? Yeah. I mean, it is something to behold. You can't see your hand in front of your face, but it just tells you how much respect we need to have for the founding generation in Lackawanna County. I have a citation also from the Senate that will be on the permanent journal of the Senate to honor this anniversary. I won't read it because it'll probably mimic some of the words that Congressman Cartwright has already shared with you, but I just want to say thank you to the people of Lackawanna County. I want to say thank you to Congressman McDade for his vision, for his advocacy, for making possible the reclamation of a site that's still serving this generation and will continue to serve generations to come. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Proclamation. Whereas McDade Park created from reclaimed mine terrain to become Lackawanna County's premier recreational facility, celebrates its 40th anniversary. It is named after the former United States Representative Joseph McDade. Whereas in 1972, Congressman McDade sponsored an amendment which embarked on the $2 million for United States Bureau of Mines to demonstrate how mine land could be restored. Totally proved the point. The site was chosen. It was a mine land owned by Lackawanna County. The park was called Kaiser Park, and it became the program's model, the only one of its kind ever to be undertaken by the federal government using 100% federal monies, federal funds. Whereas, through the intercession, once again, Congressman McDade, a special grant was secured for the site to development the partnership with the United States Forest Service and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, adding to the beautification with the trees. And I remember coming through here, and there was no trees. And those trees were just starting to be planted. And the construction of the anthracite mine. On July 30th, 1977, the park would be dedicated to Joseph M. McDade Recreational Park. Whereas today, McDade Park boasts hiking, nature trails, and natural gardens, swimming pool, children's fishing ponds, basketball, tennis courts, baseball fields, pavilions, our boundless playgrounds, soccer fields, and the Lackawanna County Coal Mine Tour and Anthracite Heritage Museum are also part of the complex. Now, therefore, we, Patrick O'Malley, Jerry Notarianni, and Larry A. Cummings, Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna, Pennsylvania, do hereby acknowledge and proclaim July 30th on behalf of the 214,000 citizens as Congressman Joseph M. McDade Day in Lackawanna County. And I was wondering if Mary Jean could come up and say a few words on behalf of her brother, Mary Jean Butler. Thank you for being here today, Mary Jean.
Thank you. Well, I thank you very much. This is kind of overwhelming. Sarah called me last week and asked me if I would represent our family, as I have on a few other occasions. Joe is doing well. He's trying the best he can. He is a fighter. And so I ask you to keep him always in your prayers. His wife, Sarah, is with him, so could not be here today. On behalf of Sarah, his children, and all of us, I thank you so much. He sends you his love. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Dick.
You know, Congressman McDade's accomplishments are just numerous. But there's one extra thing that we have here today, and I think the congressman will get a kick out of this. On behalf of the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre Airport County Board of Commissioners and County Council, we'd like to present this brick to Congressman Joseph McDade, thanking him for the new airport. This is the brick from the old airport that's being torn down right now. We wanted to give it to you.
Thank you.
And that airport is a jewel to both counties. Quite a while ago, I used to be the Assistant Parks and Recreation Director. Back then, we only had the 3 parks. And I had an opportunity to get to know, there were 2 special men that I got an opportunity to know. And they both worked diligently in the parks. They loved what they did. And what was really neat about the situation was they were hired for Parks and Recreation before the parks were even complete, to get them ready. They had boats and picnic tables and getting ready for Kaiser Park and everything else. And these 2 individuals I'm talking about are Jimmy Bedford, who couldn't make it today, and that's a good friend of our Judge Tom Munley, and my good friend that's here today that I'm asking to get up to say a few words, my good friend John Esmond. Now, you got to understand, there was no Parks and Recreational system. There was nothing. Those 4 parks came along over the 40-some years. And John Esmond was there from the beginning till when we actually got our last park. So we have a certificate for him in recognition certificate of recognition, the County of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize John Esmond, McDade Park maintenance staff, in honor of your 36 years of dedicated service to Lackawanna County, given the 30th day of July of 2017 by Commissioner Patrick O'Malley, Commissioner Jerry Notary, Andy, and Commissioner Lorraine Cummings on behalf of the 214,000 citizens. John. John, would you like to say a few words? I know you don't want to, but you definitely say.
I'm not a real great public speaker, but thank you, Bill, for this. Thank you for inviting me.
Step right over by the microphone.
I'm kind of amazed by all the dignitaries who are here today, and I'm going to tell you a little story, but it's going to be a little longer than most of you guys have spoken about. In 1972, I was unemployed, and I was looking for a job, and I decided I was going to go to school and do refrigeration work. And the school was the Myers High School in Wilkes-Barre. Well, the Agnes flood took care of that. The school was underwater, no schooling. So I got a call from somebody at the unemployment office, and they asked me if I wanted a job. I said, doing what? And they told me working in the flood recovery area. I said, well, it's a job, all right, I'll take it. Well, that led to, after so many months, there was state, federal, and county money involved in paying me and other people like me. So at the end of that program, they had to hire so many people, and I got fortunate enough to be asked to be one of them. So I go to Andy Suma's office, who at that time was the park director, and he said, we're going to put you in the parks department. And I said, Andy, I said, I know the county don't have any parks. This is where we're going to work. He said, well, we're going to put you at the courthouse temporarily. He said, we're working on a park over on Kaiser Avenue. But he said, we don't have authorization to put people there yet. All you people in politics realize the agony of paperwork. I guess something was going on where employees couldn't come here yet. Well, when we finally came here, it didn't look anything like this. The grass was probably 2 feet tall. We had one brand new John Deere tractor with a 6-foot wide frail mower to cut 90 acres. There were no trees, there were no walkways. The Gerard brothers were here busy doing stone work. They were planning on where the office was going to go. And from that, everything just grew and grew and grew. And at the end of 3.5 years, they dedicated the park. And I can't not mention Joe McDade, because he would pass through here every once in a while when he was home. And he got to know the three of us. There was myself, there was James Bedford, and there was Benjamin Jarasinski, better known to his friends as Benji, who has passed away. And they were great friends. They still are, even though he's gone. I remember him all the time. But the three of us were the Parks Department. No matter where we went, we'd say, where do you work? I'd say, I work in the County Parks Department. Where the hell is that? I said, well, you're going to find out pretty soon, because McDade Park, well, it was actually Kaiser Park at the time, was about to open, and people started to come. And it grew and grew, and thanks to guys like you and the commissioners, Luger and Pettinato had a vision that nobody in this county could see at the time. And it just turned out to be a great place to be, a place to work. Met a lot of people, a lot of friends, and it's just time passes. Where'd 40 years go? You know? But I thank you all for coming. Thank you for inviting me, and gentlemen, all you politicians that I see on television and that. Tommy Munley, I don't know where he went, but he's a great fellow. You see Joe, you told him John Esmond said hello.
I will, for sure.
Thank you very much.
I'd also like just to remember that Jimmy Bedford couldn't make it today. He definitely would have been here. He was out of town, but he did a fabulous job with Parks and Recreation. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today, especially Mary Jane, to you and your daughter for coming out to represent the congressman. It really matters. And his impact has been immense in our community, especially this park. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. Thank you very much for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, please.